winners. Let the pros show you how to make money. General Manager Al DeMarco, a regular contributor on Fox Sports, MSNBC, and Comcast Sports TV, brings over 25 years of handicapping experience to the table. CEO Steve Budin, the author of Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, is the man responsible for creating the online betting industry. Together, they lead the world's largest online sports handicapping community, your #1 source for winners.
There are no guarantees in gambling. Look it up, guys, in the dictionary. Guaranteed and gambling not on the same page, and it certainly proved to be true again last Sunday. I mean, you talk about one backdoor cover after another. Baltimore up convincingly, 24-3 against Indianapolis. The Colts unable to do anything all day long. Their quarterback throws a touchdown pass, 2 seconds left in the game. You had the Chicago Bears seemingly coming up with a monstrous road win. 10-0 lead, getting 3.5 points at Denver. We saw what happened. The Broncos, thanks to Marion Barber, get a second life. They win the game in overtime. You had a New England Patriots team. Tom Brady had not thrown an interception in the previous 4.5 games.
You see the way he got yelled at by his offensive coordinator? I love seeing that.
Wait, when you're Tom Brady and you have his credentials, you can yell right back to your offensive coordinator, because without him, you ain't nothing. And that means
it looked like they were going to fight on the sidelines.
You needed something, but there he goes. He throws a late interception that cost the Patriots a cover. You had a Tampa Bay team looking to snap a 6-game losing streak that's up suddenly 14-0 at lowly Jacksonville. The Jaguars score 41 straight points. It's why we always say in our business, you get backdoored all the time, and why you got to play the whole 60 minutes. Guys, Al DeMarco here along with Steve Budin. This is the Countdown to Kickoff program, the only nationally televised show that breaks down all of your NFL action from a point spread perspective. I've been a professional handicapper for over 25 years. Started my career as a sports reporter. So, Steve, I use what I learned from covering athletes, being on the field in the locker rooms, etc., when it comes to picking my games, because to me, it's all about evaluating talent. You, of course, totally the opposite side of the fence. Former bookmaker, grew up as exposed to bookmaking. Your father, one of the most well-known bookmakers in this country for many, many years, and you really created what guys now know as the offshore sportsbook betting industry back in the 80s.
Right, so when I turn to betting, it's more of a two-prong attack for me. I utilize my sources, the syndicates, the actual gamblers that I used to run away from. I've now joined forces with them against the bookmakers, but it's not just that. You can have all the information in the world. It doesn't matter if you don't have the money management skills to take advantage of it. And over 4 years now, we've maintained an 800-dime plus bankroll in football, combined college and the NFL, and that's simply because I've been in this business for 20 years. I know how to evaluate games, and I know how to manage a bankroll, and that's what we've seen so far.
Well, guys, listen, and I have won 8 of the last 9 years, and it's been one heck of a season this year.
Not too shabby. By the way, last week, Al, was sponsored by Best Buy. I don't know if you know that, because there were so many backdoor covers. There was a lot of people kicking a lot of TVs in. I know I was one of them.
Hey, guys, we're going to talk a little fantasy football later in the show, how you can win $300 of my money for free. And also in the next segment, we'll be joined by handicapper Trace Adams, as we are every Sunday from Atlanta via video conference, who have 3 free picks on today's card. First game, though, we want to talk about today is going to be New Orleans and Minnesota. The Saints, I warned you all last week that I do not have any confidence when the Saints on the road. Love them at home, backed them big time in their last 2 home games. But last week, yes, they did manage to get the job done against Tennessee, but that was a game that they were up big, and then you had to watch Jake Locker come in for Matt Hasselbeck and almost pull off the outright win against these Saints. Now they're laying points inside in a dome, so that plays to their advantage in terms of their speed and their athleticism. But this Minnesota team, you know, they give up a lot of points, but even last week with Joe Webb, you see they can score a lot of points. I am inclined to take the points in this one with the Vikings.
And I agree with you. When I was on New Orleans last week on the show, I think we disagreed on that one, but I got lucky, and sometimes better to be lucky than good. Although this week, I don't think they're going to get lucky again. Minnesota, a very tough team at home. They usually get the cover at home, where New Orleans isn't so great on the road. So I like Minnesota here, but I'm going to call Geico up, buy that extra half a point, because at this point, point, I'm not getting backdoored anymore.
And listen, this is a New Orleans team that's just 4-8 against the spread, their last 12 on the road. What do you think of the total in this game? I think it's a pretty low number considering, as I said, the Saints don't play a lot of defense on the road, and this Minnesota team can certainly score a lot of points, but they give up a ton of points. They have one of the worst pass defenses in the league. I mean, their secondary has been scorched for 68% completions this year. They've given up 26 touchdown passes. They've come up with only 6 interceptions.
Little quarterback controversy in Minnesota, too, now.
Well, Joe Webb played very well off the bench, but hey, face it, Christian Ponder is their future. So I lean a little toward this one over. Next game is going to be Seattle and Chicago. I was on the Seahawks on Monday night. They have now won and covered 4 of their last 5, and if not for blowing a 10-point fourth-quarter lead a couple of weeks ago when they were playing at home against Washington, they would be carrying a 5-game winning streak into this game. This Chicago team, since Jay Cutler went out, hasn't been able to do anything offensively. I can't get really behind the Bears in this one, especially when I'm getting Seattle at that magical 4 number. I would go ahead and buy up to 4.5 and feel very comfortable taking the Seahawks.
Well, through 3 quarters against Denver, the Bears defense showed why they're one of the stiffest defenses in the league. Very tough to score points against them. I don't think they'll be going back to that prevent anytime soon. I look at this game, 35.5, 36-point total. No way to go here but under the total. Like I always say, I think this one will be a baseball game. 6-3, top of the 8th. I'm going under here.
And I agree with you here because, listen, Seattle's success has been based in the second half of the season during this 4-1 straight-up run on giving Marshawn Lynch the ball repeatedly. You run the ball successfully. Not that they're necessarily going to be able to run the ball that successfully against a very tough Bears defense, but you run the ball frequently. It takes time off the clock. We know that last week the Bears gave the ball constantly to Marion Barber. Had over 100 yards against Denver, had that costly fumble, which gave away the game, unfortunately, really hurt their playoff chances. So I agree with you. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think either one of these teams scores more than 20, 21 points. I do like Seattle buying up to 4.5, but I agree. I think another way to go is to take the under.
And I think Chicago comes into this game angry because let me tell you something, Al. Nobody likes being T-bowed, not on national TV. And let's face it, the whole world was watching. I think they come back with a little aggression in this game.
Hey, guys, in our next segment, we will be joined by Trace Adams here in just a couple of minutes when we return from commercial break. Remember, if you miss any portion of today's show, you can catch it in its entirety on our website. There is no registration or no purchase necessary. And a little later in the show, we're going to talk about how you have a chance to win $300 of my money playing fantasy football. It's a free contest, and this isn't a contest that you have to wait till February to get your money. You will get your money after Monday night's game. All the details coming up as the countdown to kickoff show continues. Al DeMarco along with Steve Booten will be back in just a moment.